JDiction have launched a green silicone. Now, why a green silicone? I hear you all cry. And it's because a lot of people have asked for a coloured silicone. And it's not just so it looks pretty. It is so that when you're mixing it, if you've never used silicone or you're quite new to silicone, that you can actually see that you've mixed it properly. They have two silicones at the moment. They have the premium silicone that is transparent, and they have the premium silicone that is green. Now we'll see what the transparency is like when it's cured up, because I've not used this yet before. This is my first time using it, but it does exactly the same thing. It says it's translucent clear, it's non-toxic, which is great, it's super soft, which is ideal for us as resin crafters. There's no odor, durable, ultra elastic, and it cures within 5 to 7 hours, and it's bubble free, which again is important for those lovely clear molds. And that's exactly the same as this. So it comes with two lovely sized silicone jugs that I never use for silicone because I don't find that they clean as easy, but they are great for your resin, so I'm always grateful for them. Comes with some full instructions, some gloves. Again, they're useful sometimes, but I prefer my gloves. And it also comes with some mixing sticks as well, exactly the same as what you get in here. So what I'm going to do is again quickly show you how to make some molds, and then we can have a look and see what it comes out like. I went to a car boot sale recently and I picked up these, and none of them have got makers marks on or anything like that, so I don't think they've got any copyright on them whatsoever. I can't see any makers mark. They probably come from the Orient, and they're probably just designed for the tourist trade. So what I'm going to do is cast these, because I think these are going to look really good when made with resin. Now, there is some colour in here, and the silicone will probably pull that out, but I'm not too bothered about this. These cost me next to nothing, and if you want to know how I get my bargains and what I use my bargains for, then I'll link the video for my other channel where I show you all the bargains I got from car boot or yard sales. I need to make 3 little boxes, and I've shown how to do that an awful lot on other videos, so I'm not going to show that here. So if you want to know how I make my little boxes to cast in, check out those videos. Well, I've made me little pots now, and I did tubes this time because I thought that would save me a little bit of resin, because these are roundish, aren't they? So some nice tubes. Now what I need to do is prep these. I'm not going to do too much to them other than stick a bit of double-sided tape on the bottom of them like that. Give that a good rub over so it sticks to there really well. And then cut it to the size that I want. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be exact. It's just to stop it moving around when I knock it and all those sorts of things. I know I will. There we go. Remove that back in. And now I can gently place this in the middle of this pot, making sure there's enough gap all the way around that piece there. Push on the bottom, and now that's stuck in there. I'm not coming out. So before I pour the resin in there, what I'm going to do is give that a quick spray of silicone mold release. It really does make a big difference. Now, you don't want to be breathing this in. I've got my extractor fan on, and it's a very powerful extractor fan. And we can leave that to sit for a few minutes now, and then we can prepare our silicone. It's a really easy one to use. It's a 1-to-1 by weight. So if you're using 50, whatever measurement you're using, then you use 50 of A. So 50 of A, 50 of B, 60 of A, 60 of B. So whatever measurement you're using. I use grams, but you use whatever you want. So I'm going to mix up my silicone now, and I'm going to do 150 ml of each, because if I need to mix up more, I can, and put it on top, and you'll never know. I want to show you. See, that's quite opaque at the moment, but once it cures, it will, like the other one, cure transparent. And now this is my part B with the green in it, and you'll see the difference. And it doesn't take an awful lot to mix as well. So look at the difference in that now. I'm going to hold that like that, and you can actually see when it becomes homogeneous, so all as one thing. Keep mixing it till you're happy that you've got one colour. You've got no bits in there. Honestly, it really doesn't take long. Remember though to scrape the sides and the bottom. And I would say 2 minutes is going to be ample for this. I'm not going to have any streaks or anything in there. And I know then I'm going to get a great cure. Now, I've been saying all through this transparent, but I actually mean translucent, not transparent. So I apologise for that. Obviously, I haven't learned to talk yet. So this is nearly mixed. Been mixing this for about 1.5 minutes. And I just carry on mixing for the next 30 seconds. It looks as if it's quite homogenized now and all in one color. So whenever you're pouring, make sure that you're pouring over the top and pour slowly like this, because that way you are going to get this, that way you're going to get the silicone, whatever silicone you're using, covering the whole of the item that you're going to cast. And you're less likely to get trap bubbles in an area where you don't want trap bubbles, because if you get trap bubbles, then what you're going to do is have those in your finished casting, and as a result, you're going to cast that next time and that bubble will be there permanently. Because this is a really nice thin silicone as well, what you'll find is you've got 5 to 7 hours for it to cure. What you'll find is the bubbles will start to come up and you'll start to see them in a second. So they'll release themselves. And the same for this one. I've done the other one already, but you can start to see there's a few bubbles coming up. If you've got a pressure pot, you can pop them in your pressure pot. But if you haven't, then you shouldn't need to worry with this particular silicone because it will degas. It's the ones that cure in like 10-15 minutes that are problematic if you don't have a pressure pot, because what will happen is you'll get trap bubbles and then it will spoil the final piece. Now, if you give it a little bit of a tap, a tappy wappy going all the way around, and that'll help release the bubbles as well. So far, we've got no leak, which is always a good thing. There we go. I'm going to pop a little bit more in this one, top it up slightly, and in that one. And now we'll leave those to cure up, and I can show you how great this has cast. These have all cured now, and all I need to do, I did get a little bit of leakage there, but nothing major. All I need to do now is take them out of here. I will reuse these again, because it saves me having to mess about and make them. Look how lovely and flexible this is. This is what makes this a great silicone for moulding. There we go, that one's done. And then what I'm going to show you is how to get a really great marble effect using marble powder as well, with some veins running through it. I always like to cast, show you what the casts come out like of anything that I've made a mould of. I love this bit, it's so satisfying. And there we go, they're all done and ready to be cast with. Well, as I promised, I'm going to show you how to get a great marbling effect with this. And now I'm going to be using real marble dust and a little bit of black mica powder. So my resin's all mixed up now. What I need to do is put a little bit of this resin into a separate pot. Not too much, you don't need an awful lot. And now I'm going to add my black mica powder. Now you could use black, you could use blue, you could use whatever colour you want, but I quite like it with the black, yellows, any colours. And I want to make sure that is fully mixed in. I've mixed far more than what I'm going to need. I don't need this amount. And now what I'm going to do is take an old brush, and this is a flat, it's got a special name but I can't think what it is, and I'm going to dip that in my resin like this, and then I'm going in here and rolling that lines in there, random lines at random, not straight up but going at different angles. And I find with this technique less is more. And now I'm going to use my marble powder, start with, and put some in there. Now whenever using marble powder, always wear a mask. You don't want to be breathing that in. And now I'm going to give that a good shake and then pour out any excess into the resin where I'm going to mix it into the resin. So I'm just pouring it out into that resin. And then do the same with the other ones as well, all these molds. And then if I want to put a few more bits in, when I've dusted that mold with the marble powder, I can just go in and extend those out a little bit. So I'll finish this one and then I'll show you how I make them marbly. So now they're all done. I can discard that black mica powder and now give this a good mix in with this marble powder. Now I'm going to need quite a bit more than this. This does give a beautiful finish. I'll link the marble powder in the description below, but please wear a mask when you're using it. Don't want to be breathing this in. When I've got plenty of marble powder in there, what I will then do is just to whiten that up a little bit, is I'll add a little bit of opaque white to it. And now I'm ready to pour my resin in there with the marble powder in. I'm going to pour it down quite slowly because this is quite an intricate mould. Give it a bit of a squidge and a bit of a widgie. And then fill it right up to the top. And then leave it a couple of minutes because you've mixed quite a lot of powder in this. So as a result, you will get quite a few bubbles coming up. And we can just burst those with a long neck lighter. Adding the marble powder into that before we add the actual resin fixes a little bit better those black lines that you put in there. There we go. So now what we can do is leave that 5 minutes. As you can see, quite a lot of bubbles are coming up. They'll release quite well. We'll burn those off, top it up if it needs to be topped off, and leave it to cure overnight. So I got carried away. I demolded this one before I turned the camera on. The amount of times I'm doing that recently. So let's have a look at these. And the marbling effect on these always, I find, comes out so interesting. Look. Now, you don't have to put that much black in if you don't want, but look how nice that looks. So there's that one, and I love the way that comes out, that marbling. Because once you've coated it in resin and you put your resin and your marble powder in, it really does soften that black off. If you use blue or a different colour, then you get a different kind of marbling vein in it. Oh, that's come out beautiful as well. I love that. So good. The details in it are awesome. Brilliant silicone. Brilliant resin, and I love that technique. Hope you've enjoyed that video and found it useful. If you have and you want to learn more about making molds, then check out the video that I've got coming up next. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button, but most of all, enjoy your resin. Enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.